Hey guys, what's up? Evan from Stock Music Musician. The video that follows has a lot of tips for how musicians can continue to make money in the digital economy, even if you can't be out there gigging or interacting with students. I initially made it a couple weeks ago when coronavirus maybe didn't seem like it would be as big of a deal. I said to myself, no, I don't want to be a fear monger, so I'm not going to put it out there. But unfortunately, things have gotten worse. Regardless of what happens in terms of health, which is the most important thing, we're already starting to see cities banning, gatherings of over 50 people. We're starting to see music festivals shut down. Schools are closing. And so the opportunity for musicians to make money through gigs or through teaching are going away. But that's why I put together this list of 9 ways that musicians can earn money from their music and through music digitally. It's free, just watch the rest of the video. It'll give you a lot of hints and tips for how to do it. Or if you just prefer to read about it, click the link down below and there's a long article. It covers everything from teaching online, to gigging online, to making money with music licensing, to creating sample packs, anything you can imagine for how musicians can make money with their music digitally. I really hope you find it helpful, and I hope you stay healthy and safe out there. And I'm not an epidemiologist. I'm not here to spread fear. I'm not here to tell you how to wash your hands or anything like that. What I'm talking about is, as a musician, especially one who depends on gigging or teaching live one-on-one for your income, or at least for a chunk of it, how can you prepare yourself and how can you weather this storm? Because I genuinely believe that while a lot of this hype is going to be overblown, I think you are going to see whether it's forced quarantines or forced cancellation of large events, which you're already seeing happen in certain places, you're going to start seeing people self-quarantine themselves. They're not going to want to be in crowds of people. There are already warnings to avoid concerts, to avoid sporting events in the United States, to stay at least 6 feet away from people. And so I think you're going to see that your gig income is going to start to go down. Maybe students aren't going to want to take classes. So you've got to start thinking about how you can prepare for this slowdown. And hopefully I'm totally wrong. Hopefully they quickly, find a better way of treating it or preventing infections. Obviously a vaccine is at least a year away, maybe 15 months, but there are still things that can be done. Maybe it just disappears seasonally like the regular flu, and everything by March or May will be fine. That's what I'm hoping. But this is how you can prepare for the worst. I've made a very lengthy blog post that actually details these 9 different online side hustles that musicians can do from their home or digitally to help them earn money online. There's a link to it down below. It's got a lot more detail on these subjects. If you're interested in any of them, just go down and it'll teach you more about how to do them. But I kind of just wanted to talk about a bunch of different things that you can consider doing to still make money from your home, and maybe how you can even use this opportunity to kind of enhance your music career. So the first thing I want to talk about before we go any farther into these 9 digital side hustles or full-time hustles for musicians is that the first thing it's going to all start with is getting emails. Whether you're a music teacher, you need to get your students' emails and phone numbers, or whether you are gigging, you need to get your fans' information. Because and if you're a studio artist, you got to get your producer's information, because this will form the formation of how you'll be able to stay in contact with people over whatever period we encounter. So from there, I want to say the first thing is pretty obvious, actually. It's teaching music online. So, if you're already a teacher and you've got students and things get bad, maybe you can set up a webcam. Make sure you have one. A lot of computers already have one built in, and you can find a way to use something like Venmo to exchange payments digitally, and you can still continue to offer the lessons. You can also, post your lessons on YouTube and try and attract students that way. In fact, having a YouTube channel is the second way I'd recommend making money. This is a much slower one, but it can actually help you in so many ways because you can, yes, make money from YouTube directly. You can make money from sponsorships on YouTube, but you can also use YouTube to bring in new fans, to bring in new teaching students, all sorts of things. So the second thing I would say is you could teach lessons on YouTube. And they don't even have to specifically be about, your instrument. I make videos on how to license music. I make videos on how to use Reason. I make videos on how to avoid the financial impacts of coronavirus as a musician. So there's all sorts of things you can talk about based on your experiences as a musician on YouTube and get paid for. I do want to stop for a minute and ask if you guys have any suggestions or concerns or comments about what a musician should be doing looking into a world where a lot fewer people might be coming to your concerts or interacting with you in person. How can you overcome that and how can you survive through that situation? You can make money live streaming performances. So this sort of complements your whole gig thing, right? That instead of playing gigs live, if you have a lot of fans, addresses especially, you could perform, on Twitch and get paid. Or you could set up a Patreon, which we'll talk about in the next one, and perform via Patreon. There are several different streaming platforms, and I get into it in much more detail in the blog post. But there are all sorts of opportunities out there for you to perform live and either have people subscribe to pay or offer you tips in exchange. So that's why you really need to start thinking about collecting fan emails right now. The next way you can get money as a musician is by having a virtual home studio. Through websites like Air Gigs, you can post your services. And if a recording studio, needs a guitar lick, or if they want horns or whatever, or even if just like a guy with a home studio like me, needs a part, you can hire musicians to sing or do whatever on it. And as a musician, this would be your chance to still get in the studio, still perform, but you're doing it from your home instead of through actually going somewhere. So this can be a really lucrative way of making money as a musician when you can't actually go out of your house. The next way you can make money as a musician from your home is through music licensing, and I've got a ton of information on that. I've made well over $10,000 licensing my music over the past few years. Basically, you write music, or you take music that you already have even, you upload it to certain sites, and consumers, people that need it for videos, for movies, for radio, for whatever, for corporate presentations, can buy your songs, buy a license for your songs, but you can still sell the same song over and over again. And if your song's on TV, you might get performance royalties for it. So there's all sorts of ways you can make money through music licensing. Again, just click down below with that'll have the really detailed guides to all of it. The next way you can make money online as a musician, and I alluded to this earlier, is through Patreon. This is where you get your fans to support you for a small amount a month. And you can often do this in exchange for a service, right? Like for $1 a month, your Patreons might just, get a blog post from you. For $5 a month, maybe they get free access to like your latest single, or they get to download your album for free instead of stream it. For $10 a month, maybe they get to attend a live concert or a web concert that you stream. The possibilities are endless. I've got tons of ideas in the blog post for how you can do this. So this could be an opportunity to build that up. Again, though, having an email list is really important for that, so that way you can actually get your fans onto Patreon to support you. The seventh way you can make money online is by creating and selling online courses using sites and services like Kajabi, for example, which is what I use. It's super simple. You don't need any advanced like coding or anything. And you can make thousands and thousands of dollars. Most musicians have some specific skill, whether it's like, oh man, this guy can really play the slide guitar, or this synth player comes up with the craziest patches. And you could teach a very, defined lesson on that. Again, email lists and YouTube are great ways of driving traffic to your courses. And there's very real money to be made in teaching in this method. And it's not very expensive to start up. It does take some time to make your course, to think it out. But you can film it, with any old video camera. And I'm using like a point and shoot that's like a couple $100 and a light. The next way you can make money as a musician online is through selling your beats online. And this is a little different than music licensing, although it's very similar. But the sites that you would use for selling beats are quite different. You might directly approach rappers if you have a good beat. And the type of music, obviously, that you're going to be making is very different. With stock music, there's sort of a formula for how a song evolves, how long it should be, what sort of instrumentation you do. And when you're doing hip-hop beats, there's also a formula. It's just a very different formula of much more repetitive. Maybe you just have, a verse and a hook, and you let the rappers fill in. They're there to be the stars. You're there to provide the background. But again, you can license the same song over and over and over again. The ninth way to make music online as a musician is to create sample packs or patches. Like, so many music producers rely on samples to make their music, where you take pre-recorded music in loops and then you chop it up or you loop it, whatever it is, and you put it in your song and you kind of remix it on the fly. And many musicians are capable of creating a sample pack or a loop. You could sell these for 15, 20 bucks, have 30 or 40 recordings on it, and your fans or other musicians might buy these, and they can keep selling over and over again. And the final way, I know I promised 9, but I'm going to give you a bonus 10th way that you can make money still from your home in a world where, we're not able to be face-to-face with each other as much, is through merchandise. You probably already have some merchandise lying around, so now you can just push it more aggressively digitally. Whether you want to make it part of your Patreon, for example, you can say at the $15 tier you get a t-shirt or whatever rate it is. Or you could, sell it during your concerts, your live concerts. You just have to think of creative ways of pitching it. So I really hope this was helpful. I hope this has got you thinking ahead, and maybe you'll be ahead of the curve if things get bad. I hope it doesn't. I hope nobody ever needs this video. But if you do, I really hope that you'll be in a good position. Another thing is, if you don't have health insurance yet, and if you can afford it, I know it's not always possible, but now might be a time to think about getting it just to stay ahead of that. And I really wish you luck. Click down on that link. You don't have to download anything or give me your email address. Despite what I've said about email addresses, it's just a really long post that digs in depth to all of these concepts in case they interest you. Go check that out. If you've got other ideas for how musicians can stay afloat in a world where gigs aren't available to us, please let me know down in the comments. And maybe if you think I'm just crazy about coronavirus, I want to know. Thanks so much, and stay healthy and safe out there.